Good morning, everyone, and welcome to St. Gallen Talks. Thank you so much for joining the session. As people are still arriving, everyone who is arriving, feel free to take a seat wherever you are comfortable. This is your chance to actually engage in a cross-generational dialogue, as that is what the St. Gallen Symposium is all about. Who was here for the very first session of St. Gallen Talks 2 years ago? Anyone who was here 2 years ago? Yes, quite a few of you, and you're back. That is great to see. Who was here last year for St. Gallen Talks? And whose first time is this? Wow, that's a round of applause for all of you who are joining for the first time. Thank you so much for being here. It is an exciting format that has been growing from year to year. My name is Stephan Lendi. I'm a Swiss host and moderator, and I'll be guiding you through the session so everything works very, very well. Please make sure that you have your mobile phones ready. Unlike all the other sessions, we want you to have your phones with you, at least for this part. Please connect with the Wi-Fi locally, as reception in here is not always perfect. So please make sure you connect with the Wi-Fi, and please make sure you have those sheets that are right with you on the chairs. You have that sheet ready, and you can use that to log in. Everyone who's just joining us now, feel free to enter. Find a free seat. Don't stand at the back, because you need to actually use our sheets. I'll take you through everything in detail, especially those of you who are new here. First of all, to get us started, this format is a format that the St. Gallen Symposium does together with ZEIT Online. And to talk about this format, what it is, what the backgrounds are, and what the rich history of that format is, please welcome with a round of applause from ZEIT Online, Ulrike Zimmermann.
Hello. Thank you so much, and I'm very glad to welcome you as well. Thank you so much.
Great to see you. Uli, talk to us. It's the third year, so talk to us about the collaboration between ZEIT Online and the St. Gallen Symposium to create this format for St. Gallen.
Yeah, so I'm very glad to be here again, so the third time, and it's, as Stephan told you, it's really growing, which means we are steadily in contact since 3 years on developing interesting questions that you get to know today, and to bring most people who are here in a dialogue that is long-lasting, that also brings you new contacts. And this year, with an eye-opening dialogue, it's even setting a different layer on it.
And we're choosing polarizing questions, and that is deliberate. We're not giving you any gray. We're giving you yes or no. So you have to decide one side or the other. Why is that? What is the point?
This is because I have to go a little bit back in the history. In 2017, the journalists at the ZEIT really wanted to engage the readership more. And as you might know, it was difficult political times as well at this time. And so they created a small software that is able to match people concerning on their answers on the confronting part. So if one of you says yes and the other one says no, this is most likely to be matched.
So you're actually going to meet your antagonist, so a person that gives complete opposite answers. And you might have that image in your head. What could the person look like? Male, female, young, old? What country the person might be from? So you might be in for a surprise, but we're figuring out what that antagonist is actually like. So back in 2017, you developed Germany Talks, and the whole program has evolved ever since, Uli.
That's exactly like it was. So in 2017, until the pandemic times, people really met in person, so they were connected to each other, and they could meet even in Europe Talks in 2019, where people went to Brussels to meet in person, and they came really from all over Europe as well at this time. Then during the pandemic, we started to match people all over, so they did not connect anymore in person, as you might imagine, but it also went very well, that people could connect all over Europe, in Germany and elsewhere. We have many programs in other European countries as well, so they connected just online. And is also developed to very different formats now, so conference talks, there's a network format, but it's really essential that always the questions are really tailored to what we are doing here. So.
Thank you so much for all that background information on ZEIT Online. We're all curious to get started, right? Yes, yeah, some people are already clapping their hands back there. Perfect.
I have one
Yes,
more.
Uli, go ahead.
I really would add one more, because we had all these discussions yesterday night as well. It seems really that there is the need for dialogues, for communications, also one-on-ones. And as the young ladies in the morning said, be honest and feel like you find somebody as well to listen to. This is not about convincing. This is just about to get to know another perspective.
What I can say, and we might actually be able to share that, you might start off with very different positions. If we're asking you polarizing questions, yes or no, you take a position. But as soon as you're in a conversation and you know that the person opposite has a very different position, you can move beyond those positions and explore the interests, explore motivations. And that's the kind of conversations we want you to have. Conversations that go a little deeper, that are human to human, and at eye level. That's what we're looking for. Thank you for making this possible. Round of applause, Ulrike Zimmermann.
Thanks.
Thank you so much. So let's get ready. Please grab your mobile devices. Has anyone already logged in, completed all the questions? Oh, wow. Has anyone not done that yet? Is anyone still? Yeah, there are a few. We're going to guide those that have already accomplished everything. Congratulations. You're very fast. That's fast thinkers. That's exactly what we want. Those that have not completed it yet, we're going to do that briefly together. I'll guide you through the process. Log into our Wi-Fi network. The network is called Symposium Participant, and the password is dialogue with the I replaced with the number 1. Once you're logged in, please do not use what you see up here, but use the QR code that you have on your sheet. People that are just walking in, this is last minute for you to participate. You're very welcome. Just move into the very first row, grab a sheet of paper. Yes, wherever there is an extra sheet there, make sure you log in, use the QR code, and then insert your participant code. Do not insert the code that I have on the screen here. That's a generic one. Please use your own participant code. And then you get to answer 5 of our polarizing questions. We're going to keep the system open for another couple of minutes so those that have just arrived can also reply to the questions. I'll guide you through the questions. They're deliberately polarizing questions. That's the point of the format. We want you to dive into all the gray that is in between here. The first question here is, are you optimistic that technological innovation will provide a solution for society's challenges? Yes or no? Is corporate lobbying undemocratic? Yes or no? Should debt rules be relaxed to allow more public investment in the green transition? Does the pursuit of diversity divide more than it connects? Should there be an age limit for leadership positions? Again, yes or no? What's happening in the background? Once all your answers are logged in, the algorithms will go to work. Your answers will be analyzed, and we try to find a person that is as far as possible from your positions for the matching process. Later, you're then going to engage in a conversation with that person. Has anyone not yet replied to the questions? Is anyone slightly behind, or is everyone ready? Yes, you're going to need another couple of minutes. I think the gentleman in the middle back there as well. We're going to give you 2 or 3 more minutes until we start the matching. I'm just having a quick look over at our IT department. Yes, big smiles there. We're going to give you those 2 minutes so we can match you up as well. That's exactly what we want to do. As soon as the matching is in progress, that's going to take a few minutes, we will get a message that the matching has been completed, and then I'll guide you through all the following steps, where you're going to have those conversations and how this is going to proceed. Now, until we actually have the results, let me ask on stage a wonderful man, a wonderful leader, a wonderful thinker that likes controversial thoughts. He is the chairman of the BCG Henderson Institute. Please welcome on stage with a round of applause, Martin Reeves. Martin, great to see you.
Thanks.
Talk to us about the BCG Henderson Institute. What is the Institute all about? What do you do there?
So we're responsible for coming up with the ideas which will inform business in the next wave. So the half-formed thoughts, the problems for which we don't have names, the concepts and tools that we don't have yet. That's sort of my job. And they actually pay me, which is a miracle.
We love that people get paid for being thought-provoking. That's what matters. Do we live in more polarizing times than ever before? Have things changed?
Well, let's define our terms. Polarization is when the opinions within a group on the issue are more cohesive and further from other groups. So if you take that definition, yes, at different levels. So if you measure, for instance, the opinions on any of the issues you had on your screen between right-wing parties and left-wing political parties, or between nations, we're drifting apart. We are a more polarized society.
And the result of that, or the consequence, is that there's a further need for dialogue, for more profound dialogue, for conversations.
Well, of course, we're all different. I mean, difference is not a problem in itself.
It's an opportunity.
It's an opportunity, but if our differences are perceived to be so great that we no longer want to talk to each other, and we no longer base our perception of the differences on facts, but on stereotypes, then I think the cost can be significant. It can make the political process very fractious and difficult. It can disable governments from taking action. It can tie up businesses with the transactional costs of dealing with crises of perception and misinformation. So I think we're at probably a stage when those costs are unnecessarily high.
How do we hedge these risks? How do we assure that we're all able to engage in dialogue, that we're willing to engage also in controversial dialogue?
Well, it's the famous sociology book, Bowling Alone. The idea that what we used to do communally, we do individually. I'm afraid that we actually don't bowl at all anymore. But the good news is that we have this thing called the workplace where we actually spend the majority of our time. So what we do in the workplace, which of course, over which companies have a great deal of influence, can influence this process of how we connect with each other. So there's plenty that companies can do with this special asset of the new bowling club, the workplace, where we spend all of our time.
In companies, and I heard that a lot last night over dinner as well, ownership. People are not taking responsibility the way they used to, or the way we would want them to. They're not making decisions. They're being rather passive. They're in their home offices. They're disengaging from work, and corporate culture is suffering. What can we do against these occurrences?
Yeah, well, I think there's plenty that companies can do. So one of the sort of wonderful aspects about human sociology is that we don't have to agree on the issues to be able to have a civil dialogue. We just have to discover what we have in common. And if we look at all of the issues, then we have plenty in common. I mean, you're 5 minutes talking to somebody, and you discover that you've been to the same university, you know the same people, you have the same hobbies. So one thing we can do is to just make sure that people are interacting on multiple dimensions to create engagement and dialogue. And we can create protocols for that dialogue. We can discuss anything, but here's how we discuss those things respectfully, going a little bit against the grain of social media where we communicate in very short, sensational terms. So companies can influence all of those variables, I think. They can help their employees discover that they have more in common, and collectively those employees are a large fraction of society.
So this is your first time at St. Gallen Talks in this format.
Yes, it is.
What are you looking forward to? You filled in all the questions. We're not going to ask you how you answered them. You will be paired up with someone. What do you think that person is like that gave completely different answers? Let's judge a bit.
I'm sure.
What are you anticipating?
A thoughtful, open-minded, intelligent person that I can have a nuanced conversation with. But actually, I've got a little trick up my sleeve. I'm going to do a little sociology experiment in that conversation to try and demonstrate an important point.
I'm looking forward to that, and I'm looking forward to hearing from you and from the person you're matched with, especially right after this. Let me just double check if the matching is ready. It looks like the matching is ready. So Martin, we're going to have you have a seat, and we'll have you back up here right after the conversations. Round of applause, Martin Reeves. So matching has been completed, and if you sign in again on your mobile devices, you're going to see something that looks like this. You're going to see your own participant code. not 606. That's our code that we're using up here. You're going to see your partner's participant code. And we're just going to double check that that works. Martin, on your phone, are you already seeing that?
Go switch it on first. Give me
You're switching it on first. Let me know when you're ready. So your participant code, your matches participant code, and then you see what's called a dialog location. Here's how to read the dialog location. If your dialog location says 0 dot, then you are on this floor. Right after the dot, the number, that is the place where you're located. So 0.4 means table 4 on this floor. 1.17 means one floor above table 17. 2.16, table 16, 2 floors above. Have you all received? I see some puzzled faces. Have you received your matches, your locations? Martin, can I just quickly ask?
Even I figured it out now. So
You figured it out, perfect. So, Martin, who is your partner?
It's a person with a very interesting name. It's 1555.
1555. Can I just ask, who is 1555? Yes, that's you. Would you be willing to share how that goes with the conversation with Martin after the session and how that social experiment that he's trying to do, how's that working out? Wonderful. What is your name, by the way? Daniela. So we're going to hear from Daniela, and we're hopefully going to hear from all of you. We're going to hear from Martin in just about 45 minutes. Please make sure you are back here at 12:15. That's when we're starting again. So you have plenty of time to find your tables, and we'll see you back here at 12:15. Have engaging conversations and have a wonderful time. Thank you so much. Welcome back, everyone, from St. Gallen Talks. Feel free to take your seats again as we are going through all the statistics and data. Everyone's coming back from the different floors. Perfect. All right, as the last people are arriving, feel free to take your seats now. That'd be wonderful. Dennis as well from the ZEIT, please take your seats. And then, of course, I'm curious to find out how this went. All right, let's get a quick round of applause for all of you. If you liked your conversations, then let's bring everyone together like this. I walked through the different floors, and there were actually so many smiling faces, deep conversations, and a great time. And I do want to just explore how this went with all of you before we find out how it went for Martin and for Daniela and what that social experiment was. And so lots of questions there that we're going to find out about. I saw the two of you briefly before. How were your conversations? Let's start with you, Gesine.
It was a great pleasure, and I'm really impressed to get to know Kennedy. And I just invited him to come to Hamburg.
Oh, wow. That's a beautiful, beautiful conversation. Kennedy, invitation to Hamburg. Where did you start off in your conversations, and where did you end after 45 minutes?
So we, like you advised, we tried to start from, things we had in common. We realized, okay, we're both tall. That's a good place to start. Yeah, exactly. and then we started with the question that we had in common, because we had one question where we, answered similarly.
So you found common ground first, and that's where you set off.
Exactly, and then went to things that we did not necessarily agree upon. But upon further investigation, she's like, I actually see what you mean. Like, I see what you mean. She's a journalist. So she's like, I'm looking at it from the perspective of a journalist. And, I am an entrepreneur, and these are the things I think. So it was really, really, really good.
Oh, perfect. And you're meeting up in Hamburg. That is just wonderful, wonderful news. And those conversations are going to continue. Dennis and Berthe, what was it like for you?
We were not discussing together, but I think it was a really great experience for both of us.
So, Berthe, who were you discussing with?
Veronica, I don't know where she is.
Where's Veronica? Oh, Monica's over there. I thought she left. So how did conversations go? No, you had good conversation. What was it like with Monica?
So we started on 4 out of 5 questions with different answers, and it really ended quite beautifully because we experienced that we sometimes read the questions differently or focused on different aspects, had different time horizons on the solutions that we were looking at. And so in the end, we always could understand where the other person was coming from and why they came to their opinion. And so that was just a beautiful experience to go through all of them, listen to each other, and really empathize with the experience and to learn that we're much more similar than it looked like in the beginning.
All right, what was it? Just join me up here briefly with the microphones. That's easier.
I was just running away.
I hope not. What was it like for you?
So it was, I have to admit, I've said it twice and I was screaming, but nobody came to help. Your algorithm is just wrong. I mean, it was a great conversation. I think we saw things, we looked at the questions differently, but actually had quite similar worldviews, similar perspectives, some areas of disagreement. So it was interesting, but I think you basically matched 2 very compatible people, which makes me very suspicious.
I guess we
of how
can
you approach this thing.
I guess we can possibly generalize that you start off with very different positions, but you figure out there aren't too many differences and there are a similar mindset and similar approaches. Thank you so much for sharing that. So you start in different positions, and as I'm a trained mediator, so what we do is we try to move from positions to interests, and we try to move towards solutions. Let me just explore that a little further. Andreas, any good conversations? Who were you with, Andreas?
Absolutely. I was paired with a lady that seemed to have 3 different answers to the questions.
It seemed like it. Okay,
it seemed like,
Andreas.
indeed.
So what was
it seemed
that
like at first sight, but exactly to how it was described before, when you start discussing how the question was read and how, for example, certain words were interpreted, that drove a lot what the decision was to say yes or no. But in the end, actually, again, we had a very constructive discussion. I would say our points of view were almost aligned, actually. We just read the question differently, and that led to different decisions in how to answer them. But we see the same challenges. We see very similar solutions to those. So it was a very fruitful discussion.
Meaningful conversation? You're both nodding and smiling. That's how it should be. Thank you so much for sharing this. What was it like for you?
Very similar. We have 3 different answers, and we started with the first different answer on the technology. And we found that we are very interestingly working in the same area in a completely different perspectives. And we found a way how we can complement each other and agree to work together in solving the scarcity of leadership.
So similar area, different perspectives, and how we can, I love how you phrased that, how you said how we can complement each other. And then it turns into a learning experience and into a productive learning conversation.
More than that, I think it turned into a solution which we agreed to work together. So
congratulations. Who were you paired with?
Nadia.
Where's Nadia?
I think she had to step out for a call.
Oh, good. But a round of applause for the 2 of you. Thank you so much. This is exactly how this should go. Any other conversations, anything you would like to share? Yes, go ahead. Here's the microphone.
So I think I just wanted to mention about Soda. Where is Soda? Oh, there she is.
All right, at the back. Yeah.
So it started off, I didn't have a partner, and the person didn't show up, and neither did Soda's partner. So we got paired up together. Soda studied law. I'm from IT. I thought, okay, we have nothing in common.
Oh, yeah. Two different planets, right?
Yes. And she is just starting to work. So she's just studying now. And I've got 22 years of work experience. I thought, okay, probably I've got a lot more to share. But the only thing I'll say is that at the end of the conversation, I was almost sitting like this, listening to Soda, please coach me on a couple of things because I've just recently joined a new company. And she had such beautiful things to share with me. And we connected really, really well. So I wish you a lot of luck in your career. And it was a great experience.
So was it cross-generational mentorship?
Yes.
Well, cross-generational.
It definitely
Same generation,
was.
but different perspectives, different work experience.
Yes.
And learning goes both ways.
Absolutely.
That's what you discovered.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much, Sapna, for sharing this. Soda, I do want to just run up to you. Soda, why don't you join me just a couple of steps over here so we can all we can all see you and we can hear you properly. So it turned into a learning experience with you, mentoring someone who has very different perspectives and different experiences. Take another step over so you're more comfortable. What was it like for you? What was that conversation like?
Okay, thank you so much. I want to precise that I'm a French native speaker. Okay, so when I talked to her, I learned a lot. Yeah, and it was a very, very interesting conversation. And I know that the older, not all older, but the leaders are very like focusing on how they can work to include all the opinions of their staff. And I think that it's very, very important, and we appreciate it. Yeah, as a young. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that commitment. So that's a very clear message to leaders around the planet. Please listen to different perspectives, different views that we want to bring together, because we can learn from different perspectives. Carla, you had your hand up in the air. Let me just pass the mic on to you. There you go, Carla.
Thank you. So I'm from Mexico, and I was paired with, you can raise your hand. Okay. So he's from here, actually, but his mom is Mexican. So I was like, what? Like, change me. It was amazing because he knows my country, but I actually live in my country. So we have like totally different opinions, but at the end, they were like super similar opinions. And it was so nice to me listening to someone that actually understands my country, but because he's living with someone from my country, but there were like totally different opinions. And at the end, we were like, okay, we had 100% different first opinions, and at the end, it was like similar, all of them. And it was so nice because I'm not a religious person. You are. I'm a CEO. He's working and studying. So it was completely different background, and I'm so grateful like for this experience. So thank you and you.
Thank you so much, Carla. David, how did that pairing go? Just share this briefly. What was it like for you, David?
Very similar experience, yes. I think at the beginning, we were really like, okay, we answered everything differently. But in the end, we realized, again, we came in from different perspectives. There's one thing I have to mention, though. She did convince me of one thing, which maybe there should be like limits to when people can actually get into leadership positions. Like we always say when there's like term limits, like people who are too old shouldn't go in there. Maybe we should have a similar thing for young people too. Maybe, like we're still working that out, but it's an interesting proposal. She was winning me over at the end.
We want to hear how those conversations go, and that is the student that's saying maybe there should be an entry limit to the C-level and not the CEO that is saying that. So thank you so much for sharing that perspective between Mexican and Mexican-Swiss and that exchange. Thank you so much. Round of applause for the two of you as well. Now, Daniela, why don't you come up? Both of you, Daniela and Martin Reeves, round of applause for the two of you. I have whoever wants to get started. Daniela from Argentina and Martin, BCG Henderson, think tank. How did that go? How did you start off? You were paired. Is Daniela who you had in mind when you saw Martin on stage and you said, that's the guy I'm going to be paired with? I'm sure he has.
Yes, that happened to me.
That's actually what you thought?
Yeah,
when
he said that, I was thinking of that. But the conversation went amazing. I'm very happy. I learned a lot of things and also find a lot of things in common. So very happy.
It's great that you learned lots of things. Did Martin learn lots of things? That's what I'm curious about.
Yeah, so we did an experiment where we decided to spend the majority of our time, maybe 60%, not discussing the questions, just getting to know each other. And also to leave a lot of time at the end to say what just happened in the process. And so the summary we wrote up was basically that we have a lot in common. So we both have a connection to biology. You had a biology startup. I'm a failed biologist. We both lived in San Francisco. You did twice. We both like some science fiction, but not all science fiction. We both love movies. We both like pasta, although we disagree on some other foods. We're both from families where the law, connected with the law. We both like the movie Barbie. I could go on. We had a lot in common. And we were yes, no on 4 of the 5 questions. But we actually discovered that on 4 of the 5 questions, the problem was the question. So actually we agreed substantially. And on the one where, having gotten to be friends, we decided to push it into some areas where we had deep differences. So we don't want to discuss the issue, but there's one major geopolitical issue where we have very different views. But having gotten to know each other, I think we listened very carefully to each other's point of view and respect the other's point of view, even though we're not close on that issue.
And you got to that level within 45 minutes. That's what I love about this format. It is no time, 45 minutes, and you got to those issues, you got to those topics that were more controversial.
Yeah, I mean, seeing what we had in common was sort of easy, provided we're looking for that. But
yeah, pasta, Barbie movie, and so on. But then, right?
Pasta, Barbie, and then deeply divisive religious geopolitical events, and we both. And I learned something from you. And I've got some movies to watch and some books to read and a new friend. So it was a wonderful conversation.
Are you going to stay in touch?
For sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
When you said make new friends, then that's what you implied.
I don't promise to buy the cosmetics of your new company, but I'd love to talk about it.
Good. That's another conversation for another day. Thank you so much. Thank you, Daniela. Thank you, Martin. Round of applause for the two of you as well. Wonderful. Now, let's have a quick look at how we got started. And I think we heard from Martin and Daniela that, and also from all the other conversations from the different pairs that shared, that you started off in one position. Maybe you started off by having read the question a different way, and then this process started. I just want to give you the numbers of where we started off as a whole group today and have a quick look at the statistics here. Are you optimistic that technological innovation will provide a solution for society's challenges? 85% yes, 15% no. Is corporate lobbying undemocratic? That was close to a tie there. 46% yes, 54% that said no. Should debt rules be relaxed to allow more public investment in the green transition? 58% yes, 42% no. Does the pursuit of diversity divide more than it connects? 29% said it divides more. 71% no, it does not divide, it connects. And the last question, question number 5, should there be an age limit for leadership positions? We now heard, well, not just an upper age limit, maybe, but a lower age limit, an entry level. That was discussed there as well, depending on how you read the question. 33% yes said yes, there should be an age limit. 67% said no, there should not be an age limit. Who is just my personal interest? Who is going to stay in touch with the person they had a conversation with? Quick show of hands. All right, who's not going to stay in touch with them? One person says, probably not. We'll see how it goes. All right, good. Make sure that for the remainder of the St. Gallen Symposium, you actually embrace what we've just done. You embrace what you've learned. You see the potential there is with every person you meet, with every conversation you have. And a few minutes can actually make a meaningful difference. They can change how we approach things. They can build business partnerships, as we heard from one group. They can get you to learn, and they can get you to move on, to think further. And if we do that between generations, between perspectives, but we also have those conversations with those that are very similar and very close to us, then we can actually make the difference we all want to make. Have a great St. Gallen Symposium. Thank you for joining this session. I'm Stephan Lendi, and see you soon. Thanks so much. Thank you.